What's up, everybody? We're here today to talk about Bucky Irving, running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and his 2025 Dynasty outlook. Man, what a meteoric rise we have been taking with Bucky through the draft cycle, through the pre-draft cycle last year, and then going through the season and just seeing what he did. Uh, it's nothing short of a meteoric rise because he's vaulted all the way up to RB7 according to Dynasty Data Lab. All right. So we're going to bring this up on the screen here and we're going to show you guys startup drafts right now. Bucky Irving, RB7, pick number 35. Whew, man. With how I play Dynasty personally, that's a hard one for me to swallow. I'm trying to not pay for the youth, and I'm trying to live on that 1 to 2 year window, and I'm just cycling for older running backs, trying to be able to keep the running back position afloat. But you tell me he's going right around Kyler Murray, Garrett Wilson, AJ Brown. I'm sorry. I just have a really hard time taking Bucky that high. But if you're one of the folks that are taking him that high, drop a comment. Let us know what you're seeing in the profile that's leading you to believe that Bucky is going to take a large next step to be one of those solidified top backs. He's got Amarion Hampton right now in front of him, Devon Achane. He's got Saquon, Ashton Genty, Gibbs, and Bijan. Will he ever hit that Gibbs and Bijan and Ashton Genty range? No. But if he absolutely pops off this season, could you make an argument for Bucky going higher? I don't know. Well, let's go to what Bucky did last season. All right, so we're going to go over to Fantasy Pros and we're going to look at some of the RB statistics over here. We're going to make sure that we have this set to PPR. All right, that's one of the easy things to miss when you're starting to look at fantasy points per game, which receptions are a huge part of our fantasy game. You can see you have a running back going RB7, but he only gave you RB19 production and points per game, sitting right at that 14.4. Realistically, is that something that I see for Bucky Irving this coming season as well? Well, you look at his 5.4 yards per attempt. I mean, that's an elite yards per attempt. You start skimming up the board, and all of a sudden you hit Derrick Henry, you hit Jahmyr Gibbs, you hit Saquon Barkley. Like, those are the guys that are averaging over 5 yards a carry. Now, do I think that that's realistic for Bucky once defenses start seeing him? They start game planning a little bit more around him, being able to take away some of the run game. This Tampa Bay offense is loaded at skill positions. Baker Mayfield should be slinging the ball all around the field. Drafting Emeka Egbuka will only help open up the passing game even more. So, will defenses be bold enough to put their corners one-on-one to be able to dedicate an extra guy to the box? That is going to be the biggest question going into this year. Now, realistically, looking at 14.4 fantasy points per game, seeing that he had right over 50 targets last season, I think that is a very manageable expectation, right around that 50 targets. I like seeing my guys a little bit higher than that, but 50 targets will be able to put you in the conversation to be an RB1, RB2, so top 12 or top 24 running back. But at the prices that he's currently going, it's hard to swallow if he's just a middling RB2. You look at his production, that 207 carries. Sure, could you argue that there's going to be a little bit of an uptick, saying that he's going to take a little bit more work or away from Rachaad White? Okay, yeah, you can make that argument. But if you see that number tick up to, say, 225, 230, and you see his yards per carry drop to 5 even, you're essentially going to be getting a wash at that point. So, what am I projecting for Bucky Irving for this coming season? I'm projecting him to be a middling RB2, talking somewhere in that 15 to 15 and a half points per game. Maybe 14 and a half to 15 and a half is a better range of outcomes for him, which will put him right here once again, square in that middling RB2 profile. All right. Why am I thinking that? Well, you look at the offense, you have an offensive coordinator change, which always brings in uncertainty. And then you start looking at the interior offensive line and trying to be able to get some of those runs up the middle, which we all know Bucky's stature is not the largest, which is also part of the reason that I think they're going to meter his workload, trying to be able to keep him healthy for the entire season. So now you go offensive line, you got Cody over here at guard, and then you got Ben who needs to take a step forward. Hasn't fully panned out from that 2020 draft, but was able to get an extension, was able to parlay whatever he's done as, in my opinion, a below average NFL guard. Then you have Graham Barton, former first round pick, but man, he has got to show improvement in that second season to show that he can be the long term center for this team. Tristan Wirfs, who is an elite pass protector, dancing bear over there on the left side, some of the smoothest feet, quickest feet, easiest mover for his size. Run blocking, though, you want to see him be a little bit more nasty. You want to see him be able to get to some of those reach blocks a little bit better, be able to, maul that defensive end and be able to create some giant lanes. Luke over there at right tackle. Yeah, okay. As he's a plus right tackle. Looking at that, and you say, yeah, he can get the job done. But overall, you look at the offensive line and you say, there's this big issue right here on the interior of the offensive line. And what is worse for a running back than having to bounce everything outside constantly? I don't know. I mean, Bucky has a skill set to be able to take those outside runs and do well with them, putting himself up against linebackers to be able to make them miss some tackles in a phone booth. He has that quickness. He has that ability. But I think people are a little head over their skis with this rookie running back class being very good and seeing where those rookies are currently going. I just think that his dynasty value is pretty capped out at this point. I don't think that there is much room for Bucky to continue moving up in the ranks. Hence, one of the reasons that he is and was a sell for me this offseason. I'm looking to get a little bit more production along with a future pick. So tearing down off of Bucky for, say, a Jonathan Taylor and an additional pick in the future to be able to get that production now and then mirror that with also being able to have draft picks to be able to go be more flexible in season. But we're also going to look real quick before we get out of here over at Fantasy Calc, our good friends over there, friends of the show, and show you where they currently have Bucky ranked, which is right here at RB8. All right, so you got him square in between Breece Hall and Jonathan Taylor. So even if you tell me that you can't really get a ton, I think people, from what I've seen in the dynasty streets, are willing to tack on a third, future third to Jonathan Taylor to go get Bucky because people like the youth. They like what they saw. They like the potential there. But his dynasty stock has risen so high that I don't think that there is that much more to be able to exploit from a value gain perspective. So with that said, Hopefully you enjoyed this breakdown of Bucky Irving and what his dynasty outlook for 2025 is, what to potentially do with him for future moves, how to maybe adjust the construction of your dynasty roster. If you have, please give us a like. Please give us a subscribe. We're working our way to 1,000 subscribers, and we greatly appreciate each one of you that clicked that button. And with that said, have a good night.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Football RPG Podcast. If you made it this far, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to check out written content, head over to lastwordonsports.com.
Don't let the goblins get you.